Welcome to Financial Fridays. Here we have today our guest, Alexander Dolce. She is a lawyer in New York, as well as a judge. And she also was able to work on contracts worth over $25 million. And she's here on our show today to tell us about how to budget for our business we want to start someday, as well as how to file our taxes when you own a business. So thank you for joining us today here at the WEMAG Show, Alexander.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So,
How
ladies,
are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So before I get started with all the great details you're going to help us with, please share more information about yourself, your background, and how did you wind up doing what you're doing right now?
Okay, so I'm an attorney and I'm also an educator, and I've done work all over the world. Well, a couple of countries, not all over the world, primarily the Middle East and Central Asia. And basically went to law school. I worked for the city of New York. After that, I worked abroad. Then I became a judge. I moved away from New York, and during that period, it was a tumultuous time for me, and I needed something to do. So I decided to kill two birds with one stone. So I decided to go overseas and teach. So I taught in Saudi Arabia for a while. I came back. Now I'm doing a lot of consulting work. I'm also back in school, specializing in space law. So I'm trying to switch my career, use the contract skills in the space law realm. And, like I said, I'm always here. I've taught business, I've taught law, I've taught ethics, I've taught communications, I've taught a lot of different things. So this interview kind of merges everything together. So it's a pleasure to do it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I can't wait to hear how you're going to definitely share with us some good information to help people like myself and other women who are planning to start their business during COVID-19, how to
Yeah.
budget for it and what needs to be done. So please go ahead.
Okay, so ladies, COVID-19, welcome to it. This should not really intimidate you from starting a business, okay? Actually, it may be even a better time to start a business with everything that's going on. There are a lot of grants available, especially if you're a minority or a woman business, owner. So those are things that you have to investigate. Again, when you're starting a business, there are a lot of programs out there to help you budget. A lot of programs, okay? So, you can just go online and do it. But these are the things that you have to keep in mind, the things that you need to tally and the things that you need to deduct. First and foremost, tally your income sources. So for a business, you may have various income sources. You know what I mean? You may have a source for teaching. You may have a source for selling. You may have a source for investigating or, consulting. So all of those sources, you tally them up every month, okay? So just because as I had said before, if you own an art business, okay, and you're teaching art, okay, it's not separate. It's the same thing. So make sure you tally for, that the teaching aspect into your monthly income. So you tally your income sources. You determine your fixed cost, okay? What are my fixed costs? My fixed costs are rent. Rent is a fixed cost. You pay $500 rent every month, or $20,000 if you got it like that month every month for rent, okay? Determine your variable costs. Your variable costs are things that change, okay? Variable costs are things like shipping and handling. If you're shipping something, how many items you ship a month, okay? So one month you may ship 1,000 pieces of, fabric. The next month you may just ship 500. So those are variable. Your utilities, okay? Depending, if it's cold outside, if it's hot outside, your utilities change, that. It's rare that utilities stay the same, okay? Travel expenses. Some months you may travel more than others. So those are your variable costs, okay? Try to predict one-time spends, okay? So a one-time spend is maybe for the year, you're going to go to a special, conference, okay? That conference to go to, and you go once a year, and with travel, hotel, food, and etc., that's going to cost you about $2,500. So you try to predict those, okay? And sometimes, like I said, another one may come up, but that you just try to predict them so you know when and how to budget for them, okay? Then you pull everything together, okay? You pull everything together. So your income, okay? So your income, all your income sources, you minus your expenses, which are your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, and your one-time spend. Okay, so that is the money based on that figure. That's the money that you have to spend for the month. Okay, now I suggest that you do this for 6 months. When you do that for 6 months, you tally everything up for the 6 months and you get an average. Once you have an average for the 6 months, you know exactly, okay, or not exactly, excuse me, approximately how much money you're going to be spending every month. So you have a general approximation. You know, okay, for the business, I know that $1,800 is basically what I spend. You know what I mean? So you know what's coming. You can plan for it. That's very, very important. Okay. All right. Again, when you're starting this business, eliminate unnecessary expenses. As I said, we have a tendency, fake it until you make it. You want the best. You want to, rent and that may not be feasible for your business. Okay. That in the long run, all that rent you're paying, all the excessive stuff that you're getting may, keep the business from growing in the future because you don't have cash flow. So what I mean, keep it simple. You know what I mean? You can grow as your cash flow grows. Okay. Negotiate for savings. Okay. Generics are great. You know what I mean? We don't need, fancy cups. We can get cups from the 99-cent store. We can get bulk cups or whatever. If you're gonna, if you're gonna be serving tea or whatever, there's no need to get fancy cups. If you can get generic stuff, get it. It's worth it. Okay. Try to avoid long-term high interest debt. Credit cards come. It's great. Oh, I have cash now. I could spend. I could do this. No, because what happens is you're gonna have to pay that back. And if you fall into a hole, you have to fold. You're responsible for that money. You don't want to be responsible for that money. And again, in the long term, if you have a lot of debt, okay, it may be very, very, very difficult for your business to grow. Okay, because if you're going to the bank, they're going to look at your debt. They're going to look at your cash flow. They're going to say, based on your cash flow and based on your debt, yeah, you're not a really good candidate for a loan. Okay, so keep it low. Use it for emergencies. You know what I mean? Okay, if your printer breaks, you need a new printer. Yeah, if your printer is integral to your business, go out and buy a printer, okay? And try to pay it off as soon as you can. Don't carry long-term debt.
Alexander, quick question. Now, would it be safe and okay for a business owner to subscribe or apply for a business credit card to help with the necessary expenses?
Apply for it, but manage your money. Okay. Don't just, spend, you know what I mean? And think, oh, I can take care of it later. I can take care of it later. And at the end of the day, you have your credit limit, you owe $10,000, $20,000 in credit cards and you need a loan to grow your business. You have an opportunity to grow the business and you go to the bank and they're just like, well, you know what I mean? You're, you have all this high interest debt and your income really, really doesn't match. You know what I mean? So no, you're a risk. You know what I mean? So no, we can't lend you money. So be careful. Yes, apply for those cards. It's good to have them for emergencies, but it's not good just to spend them willy-nilly. You know what I mean? Oh, we need a new painting in the office. Oh, we need this. Let's charge it. Let's charge it. And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You have to pay that. You have to pay that money back. Or at the end of the day, it may impede your business from growing. You don't want to do that. So get credit cards, but manage them. Learn how to manage them. Again, there are a lot of programs that help you budget your money. So I suggest that you get one of those programs, shop around, and just manage and learn to do it. It's very, very important. The last thing, know where every penny goes. That's how come I said learn to budget. Because it's easier when your business starts growing and you start giving people responsibilities. And say, for instance, you give somebody responsibilities, finance and budget, you need to know where every penny goes. So if somebody says to you, oh, no, we spent, $275 on cups. And you're just like, $275 on cups. My cup budget is usually $25. Okay, where are you getting this from? You need to be able to know where every penny goes. So if there's a discrepancy, you know how to challenge that discrepancy and you know what to look for. So that's very, very, very important. Okay.
So when would we want to hire an accountant to help us to budget all that money, to manage all that money?
Okay. First and foremost, an accountant is always good to speak to when you're starting a business because they can give you advice as to what type of business to set up. And basically, they're going to give you tax information. If in terms of, once they tell you, okay, you should do you should start with an LLC, you should start with a partnership or whatever, then they give you the tax information. So it's always good to, in the beginning, to speak to an accountant, tell them, look, this is what I'm interested in. They may give you some general tax information. And after that, I think that once you get the business up and going initially, an accountant should be involved. Even if you see your accountant 2 or 3 times a year, an accountant should be involved. You should budget that in, because taxes are very, very, very important. You should pay them. And if you don't pay them, you can get into a lot of trouble. You don't want to have a tax, a tax lien following you everywhere that you go. You just don't want that.
So when do you pay? When you have a profit, or if your profit is over a certain amount, like $5,000 and up, that's when you can start filing taxes for your business, or if it's under?
Okay, let me start giving you taxes. Okay, various ways. Sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is when there's no distinction between you and the business. Okay, so I own Alexandra Dolce wings store. I'm selling chicken wings. Okay, so if something happens in that store, someone sues me. Okay, they want to sue. They're going to sue me. I'm going to be liable. So there's no distinction between me and the wing store. Okay, if you own a sole proprietorship, okay, you're responsible for filing taxes on profits earned. Profits, okay? Profits earned. And again, that's when you go to your accountant. That profit could be $1,000, it could be $1. And again, the states are involved too. There's always a different scheme for the state and the federal, okay? So profits earned. If you're a sole proprietorship, you must file taxes on a quarterly basis on profits earned, okay? That's on the 15th of April, June, September, and January.
Oh, wow.
Okay? Yes, very good. And the deadline to file your taxes is, for the sole proprietorship, is April 15th, okay? Very, very important. Partnership. 2 or more people get together, they agree to run a business for profit, okay? As an attorney, I always suggest you put something in writing, because what happens is someone says, okay, I'll contribute money, and you keep 60% of the profit and 40% of the profit says, I'm just giving money, and you're running the day-to-day business. Business gets really, really, really good. And all of a sudden, Mr. 40% or Miss 40% decides, well, I want more money. That 10% is a big chunk of money. And all of a sudden they forgot what they said. Oh, I don't remember saying that. Did we say that? I really, really don't remember. Well, maybe we should do 50-50 or whatever. Get it in writing. That way, everything is in writing. If it needs to be adjusted, if it needs to be changed, it could be changed and adjusted. But know that everything is in writing so you can protect yourself and you can protect your partner also. Very, very important. Okay. Now, there are 2 types of years. There's the actual calendar year and the fiscal year. Okay. So fiscal years are totally different. It's the fiscal year deals with when you start managing or collecting for your business and when it ends. Okay. For example, the fiscal year ends in June for the new city of New York, for most government agencies. Okay. That's when the fiscal year ends. The calendar year ends when? In December. Okay. So if you have a partnership and the fiscal year corresponds with the calendar year, you file your taxes on April 15th. Okay. If your fiscal year ends some other time, say for instance, that your fiscal year ends in June, your taxes must be filed on the 15th of the 4th month following your fiscal year. So June, July, August, September, October 15th, okay, is when you would file your taxes if you're a partnership and if your fiscal year ends anytime other than the calendar year, or I'm sorry, if your fiscal year ends in June. So remember, whenever your fiscal year ends, you have a partnership, it's the 4th month after your fiscal year ends. If your fiscal year ends in March, April, May, June, July 15th. Okay. So it's the 4th month. Okay. Then you have your corporation. Your corporation is when your business is its own person. It's a separate entity and it's managed by a board of directors or a board of advisors. Okay. Corporation files taxes March 15th. Okay. If the fiscal year corresponds with the calendar year. If it does not correspond with the calendar year, you pay the 15th of the 3rd month after your fiscal year ends. Again, if it was June, July, August, September, okay? September 15th, okay? So remember that there's a fiscal year and there's a calendar year, and that's something that you should discuss with your accountant. Which way are you going to go? Which way is better for you? You know what I mean? Sometimes it's when you start the business. Okay, so they may look at, when you have all your profits or when all your profits are gone. So this is something that you need to speak with your accountant, definitely. Okay, taxes, ladies, another thing. There are different types of taxes, okay? Taxes for selling, taxes for shipping, taxes for receiving, okay? Taxes for using equipment, taxes for business property, taxes that you pay for your employees, okay? So there are all a gamut of taxes. That's why you need a tax person. What do I need to pay? He'll ask you the appropriate questions. You'll know exactly what you need to pay, and he'll be able to do that for you. That's why I said you should try to see your accountant at least 3 times a year. Okay. Especially, and if the nature of your business is changing, I suggest that you also consult an accountant. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there any way we could learn more about it, like through certain programs that you could suggest for people to go to and search? They could get the assistance they need.
Okay, sure. The SBA has a lot. You go on their website, the Small Business Association has a lot of information.
Okay.
Also, there are a lot of, if you look at law schools that have masters in laws and tax, there's always a tax clinic. There is also always a tax clinic. You can go there and get, information from there. Attorneys, you have young attorneys who are working, they're attorneys and they're tax specialists. So they'll be more than willing to help you. Okay.
And it's free. The services.
It's free. Usually it's free. If you go to a clinic, usually it's free. Okay. And as I said, the SBA has a lot of sources. You can go on the website of your local government, like NewYorkCity.gov, and see what they have, any trainings for tax information. Okay. So there are a lot of resources out there. You know what I mean? Just follow them. Do a Google search. You know what I mean? I need tax information for my small business, and you'll see what comes up. Okay. And as I said, there are a lot of programs for taxes. There are a lot of programs for budgeting. Some of them are intertwined. Some of them are not. Okay. You have to decide what's right for you. And again, that's when you speak to an attorney. Maybe an attorney might have a tax person, a tax attorney, or a tax person may say, okay, accountant may say, okay, all right, these are your needs. Okay, we're looking at this. It's corporate. Maybe you should have a budget and tax, program intertwined, or maybe no, keep them separate. If you want to manage your tax, if you want me to manage your taxes and you want to manage your income, then your budget, then you do that, and then you bring the information to me.
Okay.
So it all depends. It all depends on your needs.
Okay. All right. Wow. A lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of information, and and as I said, ladies, this is a good time to start a business. You may not think so, but this is a good time to start a business because there are a lot of opportunities that are opening up. There are a lot of grants. You know what I mean? So do your research. You don't have to do this alone. You know what I mean? You definitely don't have to do this alone. You can get the assistance that you need. And as I said, do your research. There are a lot of people out there that are willing to give information. And you may find one source and the source doesn't give you exactly what you want, but it may lead you to another source that may lead you to another source. So it's a process. Sometimes it's a process, but eventually you're going to get what you want.
Now, you mentioned there are grants out there for people to apply for their business. Now, when people research grants, there are criteria for these grants. And sometimes we can't meet the criteria. So what do you say then? Like, are there grants out there where it's just like basic, where anyone could apply for them?
Okay. Right now, as I said, this is a really, really good time because, so first and foremost, go to the Small Business Association, see what they have to tell you. Okay. A lot of times you can go on corporate website like Chase. Okay. A lot of times Chase, a lot of banks, a lot of corporations right now are giving grants for small business. See if you qualify. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt. A lot of times it doesn't hurt. And it doesn't hurt to make a phone call. Look, I saw on your website that, there's qualifications for a grant, but this is my position. You know what I mean? Do you have any other suggestions or do you have anything else available? You never know where it may lead. Grants are always going to have stipulations. Okay. They're always going to have stipulations. But I think right now, based on what I'm hearing, based on what I'm seeing, the stipulations are more relaxed, okay? Especially for minority and women business owners.
Okay, wow. Now, you mentioned for yourself that you are currently enrolled in a school or program where you want to do space attorney, it's called?
Space law, yeah, space law.
Space law, okay. What is that actually for people who don't know about space law?
I mean, it's rules and regulations that deal with the dynamics of, going into outer space. Astronauts, drones.
Really?
Yeah, people are, it's a commercial. Space is becoming very commercial now. People want
Okay.
to travel to the moon. So people want to travel to outer space. There are ramifications to that. People want to settle in outer space. People talk about colonies. I mean, that's big. You know what I mean? Liability, responsibility, contracts, government contracts. There's a lot out there that this is a very new field. You know what I mean? So it's new and it's exciting, and there's a lot. There's a lot of opportunity there. But that's where I'm focusing my commercial law skills there.
Okay. Because, like, for example, if someone has a question after they watch this video, and they want to get in contact with you to discuss something regarding contracts, how would they reach you, or how would they get information about that?
Okay, so my email is Dolce, DOLCEALX, Alex without the E, 277@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, when you mentioned that you did work with contracts worth over $25 million, can you give us an example of what kind of contracts you worked with?
I did a lot of different types. Oh my goodness. I did IT contracts. I did banking contracts. I did investment contracts. I did human resources, social service contracts. So, I mean, like I said, I worked for New York City. I worked for Human Resources Administration. And then I worked under the Thompson administration, the New York City Comptroller's Office.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I managed, a lot of different types of contracts and negotiated a lot of different types of contracts. So I'm more of a generalist than a specialist. So I could do a little bit of everything in terms of a contract.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, if I get the information that I need, I can draft any document, which is which I think is a plus.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a plus. Definitely a plus. Well, Alexander, thank you so much for coming to our show to discuss Financial Friday, how to budget our money when it comes to starting a business and everything, and filing taxes. Now, I always ask my guests before we say goodbye to please share a motivational quote that really inspires you, that you say every day. Can you share an original quote if you have one, or something that you read that embedded in your mind?
Okay, a quote that always rocks my world is it's your responsibility because it's happening to you. UTV, we have a tendency when things go wrong, it's easier to blame so-and-so, it's easier to blame life, it's easier to blame COVID, it's very easy. But at the end of the day, you have to change it because it's happening to you. No one's going to come to save you. No one's going to say, oh, you know what I mean? Let me fix your world for you. You have to take the responsibility and fix your world and make it the way you want it to be. So it's your responsibility because it's happening to you.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to say that for myself too every day now. And again, it was great having you. And I hope I could reach out to you again for more information. All right.
No, thank you. It was great being here. And I'm always happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Have a good Friday and happy Financial Friday.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.